I am sure sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember, like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Trick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices. Add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
All right, good morning, viewers and subscribers of I Am Sure Sports. I am Richie Richards from New York, bless up. Tennessee Lewis, bless up. John Paul, bless up. Triple E, up and running. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. I am your host, Man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a blessed day. You understand me. We continue to look to the hills from whence cometh our help. Our help comes from the Lord who made the heaven and the earth. He will not suffer our foot to be moved. And he who keeps us, he never slumber nor sleeps. He is our shepherd, and we shall not want. And yea, though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we fear no evil. For the Most High God is with us. His rod and his staff, they comfort us. He ever prepares a table before us before our enemies. He anoints our head with oil. Our cups are always filled and running over. You don't know that surely goodness and mercy shall follow us straight. See how them code, eh? You are blessed, because you choose not to walk in the counsel of the ungodly, or sit in the seat of the scornful. AQ, up and running. Blessings, man, to all of you. I am Man, and today we have a jam-packed show lined up for you. We're going to get into the show, but we have some stuff that we want to do. First and foremost, people, if you're on, here's what you have to do. You have to hit the like button right away, because that way more persons will see that the video is being liked quick and early and fast, and then they will come onto the stream as well. Make sure you do that. All right, bam. All right, share it as well. And if you have not yet subscribed, please make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. All right, so let's move. A couple of things that I have to do. Number one, Gregory Messam, Virgin, always in the comment section, speedy recovery, had to do a minor surgery operation in good health, and we're happy for that. You understand me? And we are glad that you're doing well, bro. Like I said, speedy recovery to former national footballer Gregory Messam. Not anything major, but every time these things happen, we realize Gregory Messam is a man that there's no morning in sickness and in health. He sends me a devotion. Also, Michael Toller does that as well. Paul Teagat Davis, Warren Barrett. These people, every single day, they send me devotions. You understand me? Warren Barrett, big up yourself. Boopy. big up yourself. Bongo, Tiga, big up yourself. Dollar, big up yourself. Messam, big up yourself. You understand me? Good health, peace, and prosperity to all for you. A couple of subscribers going through some hard times as well. Just family, personal issues. You understand me? Christopher Wright, mother, who is not doing, continue to pray for her speedy recovery and good health to her. You understand me? Also to Demo. Yeah, man. Yeah, Demo. You understand me? Yeah. Who I don't know if you know this, Demo come from a family of good footballers, Him just don't play football because cricket a film game, but he came from a family of good footballers. So the 1987 stats team, a person named Bumpy Milton Harris. Milton Harris. He was on that stats team, that dominant 1987 stats team. He passed recently. You understand me? He's actually Demo's uncle. So we condolences to Demo and his family, and we continue to pray for them. You understand me? Yeah, man. So we have to make sure we talk about those things early on the stream and things. So Demo, continue to hold strong, you and your family, as you all go through this difficult time. And to the 87 stats team, it's very difficult for your teammate, brother, schoolmate, you understand me? Milton Harris, aka Bumpy General. Yeah, man. All right. Marlon up and running. Also have to big up Jarvis, Jarvis, aka Bones. That is Kaim Paris's uncle, Simon Sunday. You understand me? Big up. I don't know if Marlon signed because I don't know if Marlon was at the game, but lot of subscribers. M10 was there, Braxton Irie was there. Lot of subscribers were out there. You understand me? Also was there was the big man from Arnett Garden, George Pang. You understand me? Very cool gentleman, you understand me, at the game, come and support him team. So big up to all the people. Again, it's going to be a good show. We're going to have a discussion about, some of the steps that needs to be taken in terms of on-field play to give Concacaf U teams a better chance of becoming dominant. We're going to show you stats or speak to you about the statistical performance of Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago. We're going to have someone from Trinidad speaking about that as well. All right. And share with you some information where that is concerned. Also, the Jamaica U20 female team under the leadership of Hugh Bradford. Hugh Bradford is the new head coach. He will be taking a team over there for this tournament that is coming up starting on the 14th. A couple of things that are happening. The Gold Cup draw is also on the 14th. Coach Himir Hal-Grimson will be the representative for Jamaica at the Gold Cup draw. So he will be there to see which teams Jamaica will have in their group and where the games will be played. I know a lot of people are saying that they need to play the games in Miami or in Florida, somewhere right there. But I guess the people in New York want the Jamaica team to be based out there close to the Red Bull Arena. So let's see how things are going to go where that is concerned. So hopefully on Friday we can hear from Coach Himir Hal-Grimson so he can give us some details as to what his thoughts are on the draw for the Jamaica team for the Gold Cup. All right, so that is going to happen. But at the same time, our U20 team will be should have traveled, and I want to encourage, right? All right. I want to encourage you. Right? The JFF. This is for the administrative arm of the JFF. Make sure that there are no hiccups with this U20 team. Make sure that there are no hiccups with this U20 team. Make sure that every player have the requisite documentation, every player travel, all necessary equipment, gears, staffing are in place for this tournament. This team should qualify for the women's U20. They should come out of CONCACAF. This is a team that has Mia Mitchell would have been able to play, but she's injured. But Avery Johnson, the under 17 captain, she has a very long name. A lot of the players from the last U20 and the U17 team are in this. This is a good squad. All right, you have a good coach in Hugh Bradford. You know the technical director, Mr. Downswell. Mr. Downswell. Mr. Downswell. You hear, Mr. Downswell? Please make sure that you don't close your eye for a minute on this assignment. Not a minute. You understand me? All right. Big up Curtis. Herbert Morrison. Herbie for sure. 1738 is here. Man in straight. You understand me? Tennessee up, Mr. United up. Mr. Porter from the man them challenge you upon the cricket thing, At the first me I see you back in the chat, Big up yourself. Them found stats and demo, Mr. Porter, but they have not found any cricketing stats on you yet. Brian said he did some thorough investigation. But big up yourself, Mr. Porter. Hey, behind the scene doing some tremendous work for the benefit of Jamaica's football. And so big up Mr. Devon Porter in that regard. All right, so let me get back to it. So this U20 team is expected to qualify. In fact, they have a very Jason Guna up and running, man. They have one of the person who will serve on a short term with them is the wife of the head coach, Himir Hallgrimsson's wife, Idris Hallgrimsson, who is a highly qualified physical trainer and female coach, will be part of the coaching delegation. So I would say, given where we were in terms of coaching and staffing, we have a more qualified coaching staff right now. The girls have had a 3-week camp leading up to the tournament. Should have been longer, but a lot of them were in competition. Remember, the last time we went, the under-17 and the under-20 girls were not playing any local football. But a lot of these girls have been playing in they finished the schoolgirl league, and the schoolgirl league, well, it's still going on. But there was also local club football going on, and many of them participated. So that means that we should have better output from the team. Hugh Bradford has come in as highly qualified for this job, right? Listen, you had people like Brian Wallace who wanted this job, and Brian Wallace, as a Jamaican, is making waves on the coaching scene, and they chose Hugh Bradford. So you know that as much as we beat the Jamaica's football, when the vacancies are there are some highly qualified coaches who apply for these jobs. So the expectation is that the team is supposed to qualify. Again, I challenge Mr. Chung, Mr. Ricketts, who is the manager, the head coach, and all the other supporting staff, the technical committee, Karen Lumsden in management, to make sure that everything is put in place to give these girls the kind of experience that the boys had, the senior team had, before they went to Mexico, where they came out and they spoke highly of the camp and everything. Give them that experience and they will qualify. So, wherever you need to get the funds from, go ahead, get it. Call some people right now and get the money. We need it. All right? We have guests who are coming on, but before I bring them on, but deal with them I deal with, so they are not implicated in my folly, right? So I am going to go on a rant right now. Right? So before we bring on my guests, I want to done this part before we get into the main segment of the show. Because this is not the main segment, but it must be highlighted. I'll call out, because you see, when YouTubers are, I am not a YouTuber. I vlog or I do these things, but I have other things outside of this. So I call myself an independent content creator. Me create content for whole heap of things and whole heap of people. That's what I do. But we into vlogging. The coach means he's not a YouTuber. Military Guna is not a YouTuber. Family is not a YouTuber. Ryan is a mechanic. He's not a YouTuber. He's a mechanic that is on YouTube. Unseen is a, you understand me, JD, Simon. We're not no YouTuber. We vlog. So let's get that out the way. So media practitioners need to go on better. Recently, on one of his programs, Mr. Tracey said that the reason why the people them like Dennis Strong are because he's white. Let me say it again. The man, and I quote, the reason why the people them like and support Mr. Strong because he's white. Mr. Strong come like in talk more patwa than more than all oral Tracey. People, Mr. Strong is a Jamaican. he's a black man with white covering. I cannot understand how a responsible human being would go on the public airwaves. And he said on Ryan show last night, see there? See, somebody just said, he said it on Ryan show last night. See it? You see on a line, man is gonna tell. How a man like this can say these things when he knows that people listen to him? You can't say that is irresponsible because there are some people who have the same look as Mr. Chung that you support. Even when other people are opposing them, you stand up and support them. Oh, he never said it on it. But him said, that is why the caller said it. Because that is where it is coming from. So when you hear the caller with it, that's where it came from. I should have found the clip, you know. You need to come out, Mr. Tracey, and explain what you mean when you say because him white. What you mean by white? What color have to do with this? The man is not a Jamaican. Eh? Oral Tracey, you need to come on. Hey, you know, so Oral Tracey, I'm a branch, you know. Because I see my match and I hear him, you know. Man, I'm listen to. Come in, I really have. But or you like to call out people. You need to come and explain yourself. You need to come and explain yourself. What you mean that because the man white? You have some other people who have similar complexion. That even when people tell you that I'm not telling the truth, you say, no. And you laugh and sing. You trivialize stuff about them. What color of it is? It's very, sir, I find your comments to be very racist. Because a man color, height, or size here has nothing to do with their function or their treatment. This is the kind of madness that we propagate out there. That causes many people. When you start say that about the coach, you can start say that about some of the players. Like people are calling one of the players who played in the friendly game. Call him on white boy. This kind of madness need to stop. We're all Jamaicans, brother. And you know better, Mr. Tracey. You know better. And you need to come out and explain to the people what you mean. What do you mean by it's because I'm white? Were you joking? Are you serious? If you were joking, just say, man, just come out and say, you know what, people? You know, see, I look mustering. I mean, I really mean it. Come out and say that. We who are responsible cannot come out and say that. Do you hear me? Stop. You need to stop it, man. You need to stop it. And come out and explain. If you come out and say, no, man, that was a little joke thing, man, and stuff, then, yeah. Because I am telling you, if one of the persons who operate in the YouTube space primarily came out and said that, they would say that is why you can't take the YouTubers seriously. They don't know what they are doing. They don't know what they're about. So what gives you the divine right to say it when you have the more quote-unquote professional platform? Imagine a YouTuber said that. We would have been told that that is why you can't allow them in these spaces, because they are not trained in proper media practices. So I won't go on to this, but Mr. Tracey, again, you know, management respect you. You need to come out and explain to the people what you mean. And don't just make a statement like that. What do you mean by that? That is because the man white. So now they see him Jamaican, them love Portia. Now they see him Jamaican, them love Usain Bolt. And Shelley. Stop your madness, man. Now they see him Jamaican, them they love Dean Burton. Madness. Yes, sir. Renee Simone is calling him a clown. Hey, listen. But even if it... All right, fine. Big up Richard Green. Man, even if he's called a clown. The man must, but you can't. Listen, people. When Oral Tracey put out something on YouTube, whether it's for comedy or not, you know how much people listen to it? Because they rate him highly. So he's not allowed to say such thing. You see how did me and Unseen say that? It wrong, you know. But at least, you know, we are little YouTubers. Where he's at, he has a broader audience than all of us. So, personally, I had to come out and speak to this. But I'm not going to give it an entire show. All I want is for Mr. Tracey to come out and publicly explain what he means. Coach Barris, even if he's joking, there are certain things that people in certain positions cannot joke about. You cannot. You cannot. People are still kneeling in the Premier League over these things. These are not trivial matters. Joke on some other things. But when it comes on to the racist comments, it's not a joke matter. Whether a man brown, or him white, or him black like tar, it no matter. A Jamaican. We don't have fat Jamaican, slim Jamaican, brown Jamaican, white Jamaican. Jamaican a Jamaican. These are the same kind of people go make the people them overseas feel like them not real Jamaican because them not live at Jamaica. So anybody who not have his complexion and a real Jamaican, madness man, that is not a joking matter. Big up Unseen. And so, like I said that, it's coming up to 30 minutes, but I'm not going to give it. But personally, I had to speak to that. And Oral no saying can call in. He not go call in still, him do something on him show. Because somebody go and send it to him. And more people need to call him out. Hey, some of the people them who call him program need to ask him what he mean by that. Ask him, what do you mean by this? The question we must ask is this. Is Mr. Dennis Strong competent or not? The question we must ask is that, should he be given time to prove his worth? Those are the things, not no color business. So let me ask you now, again, finally, Mr. Tracey. You have some friends who are very similar in complexion and hair, like Mr. Chung. Do you like them because them white? Seeing that you're saying that people like Mr. Chung because he is white. Do you like those people because of their color? So now that I've expressed how I feel about it, big up that I respect as a person for him. You understand me? Very jovial in his approach. Appreciate that. Pagan, that is what I try. That's what the man say, man. Because the man is white. Yeah. And let me just say, people, the other day when Boris called and I took him on strongly in what he was saying, he did call me and said that he was just joking. But I tell him that he can't run them joke there. A serious thing that. Anyway, we have a caller. We're going to take this call before just to temper before we invite our guest on. So let me hear the caller. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man, it's over, man.
Yeah, man, I am here. Miguel. Yeah, man.
About that thing with oral trace, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a little more responsible with it, but then the reality about it is that Jamaica is a very, I wouldn't say racist, but very classist country, and I've experienced that. You understand me? I used to manage a portfolio for a certain banking institution, right? Some credit cards. And when the average black man goes to get a credit card, go to give all them them dead grandmother information. But yet if a lighter complexion man today, them get the card without even any reference. And we witnessed that over and over for several applications. Media try to get a TV show started in Jamaica. And everybody still like the content, but yet nobody will sponsor it. But yet, we know for a fact, if I was of a lighter complexion, I want math food or something, would I get more support? So you just can't take
Yeah.
a brother. And you have white Jamaicans also. They were all white Jamaicans, so we can you say you people are Jamaican because you have white Jamaican, Chinese Jamaican, whatever. But my tell you Jamaica is very classes. And we experience that. A lot of times people go for work in the bank, but by the time in Jamaica be like complexion people, I tell her, I just recently that a change. We're very, very, very partial when it comes to complexion in Jamaica, brother. A reality that.
All right. So here's the thing. Here's the thing, caller. Your experience is your experience. I still put it to you that there's no place in the society right now for the kind of comments from Mr. Tracey. None.
Is he lying?
What you are talking about has nothing to do with that. What you are saying may happen, is happening. That comment about Mr. Chung did not get the job because he is white.
He didn't say that. He said because they like him. So that's just what he said.
So here's what I'm saying to you. You're talking about, first you spoke about employment and getting credit card. That is not the issue that we are dealing with. The issue we're dealing with is that this man on a public program said the reason why he is liked is because he's white. So, and I'm saying to you, that is inappropriate. It is wrong. Because the same person have someone else who is just like Mr. Chung that he supports wholeheartedly.
Well, let's share my experience with my brother.
No, and I'm saying fine. And I'm not saying your experience is wrong, but I think that is a separate issue from what we are doing because your experience is probably what a lot of people go through. But I am saying to you, listen, you need to meet some of the Chinese people who were born in Jamaica. Because I can tell you this, not even you can operate Jamaican like them. Me, I tell you that. Can tell you that. There are a lot of people of Chinese descent in Jamaica. That Jamaicans in Jamaica who born, who black, cannot operate and don't operate as Jamaican as them.
Well, Master, there, I'm not saying that what he said was responsible, was irresponsible, but there's some truth in it. Jamaicans tend to favor lighter complexion.
The world, not Jamaican, the world. The world.
Yeah, we're talking right?
The world is like that. The entire world. It's not Jamaica alone.
So either way, he's not lying then. Either way, he's not lying, but he can be a little more responsible. But let's tell us there's some truth in it, Brendan. There is some truth. I'm not saying Mr. Trump got the job because of his complexion. You understand me? People favor people of lighter complexion.
The world. And that is not a Jamaican phenomenon. That's what I'm saying, Carla. We talk like this, a Jamaica thing. We should not make it a part of our society. And guardians of responsible people should not utter it in this regard. That's what I'm saying. I am saying to you, globally, that is how the world operates.
Well, which means he's speaking what is reality then?
What is reality? But no, what I'm saying to you, Carla, is that where are you getting it from that Mr. Chung is liked by me because he's white? You are coming to tell me that orally speaking, factual, that I like Mr. Chung because he's white. Fresh God like him because he's white. Brain Drain like him because he's white. That is what he's saying. And you're saying that he's right.
Brother, me, I speak to my point that it is a common thing in Jamaica. So I don't think he's totally wrong. But you had him trash that out, brother. That's my point then.
All right, bless up, Miguel. Yeah. All right. Anyways, people, we're gonna leave this matter. Too much time to it. You understand me? Big up yourself, Miguel. Let's invite. You understand me? Hey, people, I have to laugh about this one, right? So Mr. United just figure out say him and Demo a family, you know. And him always a beat Demo, you know. So here the man now, no. Demo, sorry for the difference of opinion we had before. It will never happen again. That is why they must be careful how they treat people, you know, because I'm probably your cousin, you know. That is why you must be careful when you talk to people on these platforms, you know, because it could be a cousin, it could be an uncle under disguise. So be careful. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know, bro. But like I said, I'm not going to give any more time to this. I'm going to invite my guests to come on. Just give me a sec, people. Let me just get the guests at the pro. So, all right, people. So we have Mr. Rudolph Speed. Mr. Speed, now that we finished that, we take call a break and thing. We're back to the things that really matter. We also have Andre Fortune from Trinidad and Tobago. You see, I spare you all of that, so do not even pay any attention to any comment about that. This is a new part of the show. You understand me? That part was not for you.
First, I just want to ask you, Mister, who did he say died? There was that Bumpy?
Milton Harris, the one who played on the 87 stats team, not Ryan Nelson, you know.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the original Bumpy.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the original Bumpy is Demo uncle.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
All right. Yeah. All right. So Andre. They call you Andre Bravo in Jamaica. No, that's a new name.
I don't know where that come from.
Cataract.
Cataract, eh?
Cataract.
Well,
Say
I don't know.
Bravo.
I don't know if I'm gonna embrace that. Mr. Speed, how you doing?
I'm good, Andre.
All right. But I know you reached out to me, say you want to have a conversation about, just the Caribbean team's performances in Concacaf, right? And over the years, especially at the youth level. And you really wanted to have the conversation with Mr. Rudolph Speed. So I'm going to be here and then listen to the conversation. And then as I see comments and questions, we're going to have callers because I think it's going to be so good that callers are going to come in and people are going to ask and make statements, especially those who are in football and coaching. All right. So go ahead, Andre, how you want to start the dialogue?
Mr. Speed is and again, it's as someone who has been involved in football for a very long time, probably longer than I have been, and at the club level and at the international level. I was thinking the other day, and what do you think it takes? I was looking at let's take the U17 that just finished, and trying to understand what do people in football think is required to be successful at the youth level in the CONCACAF region. We have two teams that's dominating the football in the region, and the rest of us seem to be miles apart.
So, when you say in the region, you're talking about USA and
CONCACAF, yeah,
Oh, not
Mexico and USA have been dominating the football at the youth level.
right. And well, mostly so Mexico. They have even won Youth World Cups, I think, and been to the final on more than one occasion. So I believe that one thing that is hampering us is how you qualify. So the qualification process is too sudden, and there's no room for development of the teams per se. So nowadays you just go to one tournament and that's it. You get to play 3 or 4 games and you're out of it. So there's no way for you to start bad this year and develop the team so you can be more competitive, like say in the second round. So basically, I don't even know if we're choosing the right set of team. The right is the best teams go to the World Cup, because you could just get it drawn in a bad grouping and end up playing, say, Mexico or the USA. So you are the third best team, but because you end up playing one of those teams, you're out. So there's a little bit of luck towards who qualifies to for those age group competition. And I think that is the first thing we need to look at, how the qualification is done.
What about the preparation piece of it? In terms of being, and not just qualifying, but being competitive. When we look at the last tournament that just went by, for example, and you look at the some of the data from the tournament, and I think it's fair that I would use Trinidad, for example, because I think Tranis, you're quite capable of speaking about Jamaica. Mexico won the tournament, and Mexico scored 29 goals and conceded 2 goals. Trinidad scored 10 and conceded 5. They scored 5 and conceded 10, sorry. Jamaica, on the other hand, scored 8 and conceded 8. And got out, they both made it out of the rounds, the group stage that you mentioned, as a third place team, at least in Trinidad case, and went on and lose the next game. It appears as though we are not being competitive, right? So from a preparation perspective, what could we do better?
Right. So let me just go back to the top end of all the competitions are done. When you go to those competitions, what happens is you identify a gap.
Before you say that, somebody, and Trinidad is much richer than Jamaica. Why aren't they taking the lead in Caribbean football? Is that a fact, management? Is that a fact, or that is one of those oral Tracey statements?
He's the man. Yeah, he's the man.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, Mr. Speid. Sorry.
So I'm going to come.
The man is the same person who operates as TikTok. He is very outlandish in his comments.
Okay.
You understand me? So I don't know. You have to just big up the man. Okay. I don't know. You have to just take it or you want. I don't think he's because he normally is on the side of the JFF.
I'm going to deal with that sentence.
Okay.
Don't worry. But I didn't want to finish my thought.
All right, go ahead.
So what happened, as I said before, you know that players improve at different rates, depending on what you do. With the players, what kind of work you put in. So as I said before, we definitely, once we went there and we have an idea of what their position looks like, neither Trinidad or Jamaica could have gone back home and said, listen, there's a gap here and we need to cover it, because you're just going into the next elimination match right away. That is why I'm saying that the qualifier should look something like the senior men qualifier, where you play it over a 1 year period. So even if you start bad, you can make up, you can change your squad. In those situations, you can't change your squad. You might have some injuries and you have to carry other alternate players, but there's no in and out. Somebody not playing good, you can't fix it. So the truth is the tournament itself don't tailor-made for improvements. It's just a cutthroat tournament, and it don't really necessarily over a period of time decide who is the best 3 or the best 4 teams to go to the World Cup. That being said, just to talk about the person who just come on, Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica, we have agreement to embark on a MOU, which we're gonna work through because we realize that it don't make sense Jamaica go ahead at Trinidad. And then we are going to be using whatever knowledge we have to help the other Caribbean nations. It's not good for you to be what you call it, you alone good in the region and no other country is good, because eventually you'll be able to beat everybody in your region, but you won't be able to beat anybody when you go out, which is what is happening to Mexico now. And even the USA, they can beat us up, beat us with everybody, but when they go on the world stage, because the rest of the countries is not strong, they are not strong on the world stage. They are only strong in Concacaf. So Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica is really working towards having this development so that we can share technical matters, we can improve the other Caribbean nation, so that all of us will get better as we go along. So we'll be able to perform better on the world stage. So that is really what we're looking at. So we go back to the preparation period. Yes, again, the preparation period is partly influenced by how the competition is structured. So we probably start prepare the last couple months before the competition. While if we were playing over a year to qualify, then the preparation period would have been much earlier. What is happening is that the other countries, their preparation period is much longer than ours. They are 18 months, 2 years, 3 years in some case, and we are just taking months most of the time in the Caribbean to start our preparation.
So how could we change the dynamic? Because sometimes the performance in these tournaments make it seem as though we are closer than we really are. Okay, I think there's a FIFA what?
Hold on, Andre.
Yeah.
I don't know what. Hold on, Andre. I don't know what you did, but whatever you have done while Mr. Speid was talking, it has caused you to be delayed.
Okay.
So, like, now you're frozen, and then afterwards your words come.
Okay.
All right. So, what I'm going to ask you to do is to see if you can sign out and then sign back in, so you can be everything can be properly synchronized. Yeah. Yeah. As the one you're saying that long-term player development is a difference with USA / leadership, because I was making the point earlier, Mr. Speid, is that should we be having like, is there a way for us to structurally or systematically have across Jamaica age group like under 7 separate from under 8, under 9, even if it's 6 aside, um, just promote that across parishes, because that way you know that kids are playing more and involved in their own age group, which would help with their development, because more playing time probably equal to greater development. And
No,
maybe if you can, go ahead.
yeah, unsupervised playing of football is very important. I mean, has been a decline of it in Jamaica because you know a lot of these open spaces that people used to go and play some ball game, as we call it, they are development areas now. People building buildings. I mean, concretes are putting up. People are fencing their places. You can't go there anymore to play. So there's a big decline in unsupervised football, which is where people get certain craft that you don't get in supervised games. So if you look at what some of the reasons why some of the Brazilians are so skilled from the South American side, they probably have the most skillful players, is because of the amount of unsupervised game that they play on beaches, etc., wherever. Or futsal, as against the Europeans, who are very good midfielders because they do the pass and moving. So yes, I think Jamaica lacks that type of playing a game from an early age where you play a lot of football, and it's something that we have to address. I think I agree with you.
Okay, you're back now, Andre.
Yeah, I was asking the question. There's a suggestion that you need 11 international games. So, and we know the value of an international game. It allows the coach to assess his players, his teams, his ideas. That's the benefit of friendlies. Look at players, introduce new players into the team, and you need about 11 of those in order to during preparation in order to be competitive. right, in the tournament. And I think if we look around, we could see USA and Mexico in particular, they play a lot of friendlies in the CONCACAF region at home, here in the US, and they're on top of the food chain. How could we better prepare our teams? Because when I watch Trinidad in the under 17, I think you would agree if you saw the games that over the course of the 4 games they play, we got better. You can see the team improve over the course of the 4 games, but we're not getting that done prior to the tournament so that we can be competitive. There's like right now, we know the next tournament is in 2 years. Is that correct?
Yes, 2025, and then every year afterwards from that. So 2026 there will be a World Cup.
Right. So how could we close that gap? We have a 2-year period of time. I mean, I agree with you. The process of qualification probably could be better, but we have 2-year period of time to prepare a team for these tournaments. I mean, the numbers for me, it doesn't look great if you look over the last 10 years. And again, you look at Trinidad numbers in particular. We've scored 25 goals in the U17 qualification tournaments in CONCACAF and conceded 50. Right, and while Mexico has scored 113 goals, so they're so far ahead of us, right? Jamaica numbers are a little bit different, 37 and 45. So we seem to be so far away from those that is at the top, and it appears as though we go into the next cycle in the same way, at least for some of the teams in the region. I don't know, Jamaica one is probably changing. Trinidad one is probably changing at the moment. But it can't change fast enough, because for me, it's, as somebody from the Caribbean, you want to be proud of your teams that compete, right? And the under 17 team should be preparing players for the under 20 and for the senior national team. And we find out over the years that we have a lot of teams, a lot of players that play under 17 football that doesn't go on to have a career in football, right? So that would suggest that the foundation may not be there. How could we change all of that?
Well, we're going about trying to change that now. I mean, we are fully signed on to the FIFA talent identification program, which what they are saying is that leave no talent behind. So that is their slow part of one of their slogans, leave no talent behind, which I know Trinidad has also signed on, because I think we have the same case officer, and they are willing to help us to achieve what you just suggest, to start the preparation for those teams from now, which incidentally we have started. We have gone to the USA and look at who they have over there for that age group. We started our under 15 competition island wide this month, because we want to be able to identify all the talent. It's going to be played in every single parish. We'll be able to identify a lot of the talent. Then and those players will be playing continuously. So the coach could have a one look and a second look at them. And then we are going to also we have an under 17 club competition, which we are allowing our under 15 national team to play in. Once they play in that, then they will get about 9 games against much bigger players. And also we're planning to go to international tournament. So, and next year again, we're going to have the same under 17 competition, which these players now will be able to play in their respective clubs at age 16. So we have designed this elite youth competitions block to segregate the elite players from the amateur players, and try and see if we can make them a bit. So the preparation is not to have camps. We are using all of these competitions. We're also ensuring that the Premier League clubs who have the better coaches, tier one and tier two, will be able to prepare these players also. So we're going on a holistic journey to try and get better players by 2025, being prepared over a 2 year period. And we're also still preparing for 2026 when the World Cup is every year, because we're not leaving the lower age group out either, because they will get caught up in these set of elite players and elite competitions right away. So that is our one of our methods that we're using to try. And the other thing is that we're going to be putting in criteria for coaches to coach at certain level. So what we want is for any of these elite players, we want them to be coached by at least a B licensed coach, which is really for elite youths, and instead of having them coached by coaches who do have the requisite qualification. So we're trying, I mean, and also these teams that we're going to be using to play the youth competitions, we're talking about, they have to have a license, a club license. So we're attacking it from a lot of different angles, and hope that use a Jamaican expression, hope so bingo, because we would have never tried it like this before.
Well, I think the evidence is there that
Oh, sorry, I was muted, Andre. Just hold on a second. Let me ask a question. Should we make it mandatory for our tier one teams to, at minimum, it is mandatory for you to participate in our tier one competition and our tier two competition? You must have a U17 minimum standard.
Well, that is what we didn't make it compulsory this year, but once we invited all the teams, and when I look through the emails, I think everybody said they play. All the Premier League teams and all the tier two teams said they're playing in the competition. They're under 17.
Oh, but is it in other words, I want the tier two teams, because what I don't want to happen is that a team believes that they can play in our top tier or our second tier and not have it. So
No.
even
As a matter of fact, it is
yeah.
compulsory. It is in the rules compulsory. But the rules say if we play, they must play. So it's compulsory. To be honest,
Also,
in the regs, it's compulsory.
so going ahead, what the people can expect is that our presently our 14 Premier League clubs and our 14 tier 2 clubs, that is the
No,
present.
it's not 14 tier 2. It's 10 tier 2.
10?
Yeah, because the other four we didn't invite them. They are there as emergency. We didn't remember. So when we came up with the idea, teams were still trying to qualify for the tier 2. So we
No,
didn't
all right,
invite
no
them.
man. So what I'm saying, so moving ahead, maybe not this present season. So this season
No.
is going
Yeah.
to end. The tier 2 is supposed to start. So this is going to end.
Yeah.
So I think part of the technical committee's function should be to make it mandatory after this, because a tier 2 is starting. You're okay.
No.
The
It
Premier
is
League is ending.
mandatory already in the regs.
Okay,
It is.
okay, okay.
You talk about if we're going to implement it and run out the team out of Premier League or tier
No,
2. That's a
no,
different thing.
because
But
you're
it is
already in it.
mandatory
I'm saying
already.
going
It is
ahead.
mandatory already from last year. This year regs, it is in there that if
All
the
right,
DFF
so that's
play,
one. On the other level, though, I also believe that what should be mandatory at the, maybe not at the tier 2, but at the top tier, is that any team in that must have a female program. I don't maybe
that's not mandatory.
because listen, I'm not saying that you must have a senior team, but you must have you must have one female program, because that's the only way, because they are going to be the team that is able to sustain it, which I think what that will do, it will also work to eliminate many clubs or cause them to merge, because if I were to do that, I would find a female club and merge and say, listen, let's come together. You still run the female side, but it is one name, because I'm going to be in tier 2. I can't run the female thing. You already have a female thing right next door to me. So let's merge. and we call it one name, and you run the female program. I think that would form that kind of merger because there are persons who run under 17 and then the next person who runs a female program, but they're separate from the team that is in the tier 1 and the tier 2. When there could be a merger, so we have just a thought though. Maybe it can't work because we can be very tribal, but yeah.
No. What you say make a lot of sense. Just that I never try to advocate for clubs to. I always try to make clubs make their own decisions. Whether they want merger or not merger. I just always never try to influence that in any way because it's a personal decision. But what you're saying, there's nothing wrong with what you're saying.
What do you think we believe in the region about our young people and about the quality of football we can play and what we can really achieve? What do you think? Because I think your belief system does shape your values, which shapes your identity in the end. What do we believe about ourselves in the region, about our young people, about what we can do, at least on the Concacaf level?
Well, the region, not so.
And one of the reasons why I'm asking is because when you talk to people, I tend to get a list of what we don't have and what we cannot do, as opposed to what we could do.
No, so let me tell you how I think it would work out. One of the things that problem that we're having is that the region talks about a Gold Cup for the senior men, and now they're implementing a Gold Cup for the senior women. They're also looking at implementing a club. They have club championship for Concacaf and CFU, etc. But it's always senior. What has happening is that Europe, if you look in Europe, they have gone past that. They're having these competitions, championship competitions for age group players. And until we decide that we should have a Gold Cup for under 17, we should have a Gold Cup for under 20. That is one way will help us to bridge the gap between us and the big teams. So until we realize that a lot of this money that FIFA giving them, that's what we should be happening. Instead of just have one Concacaf competition, which is a qualifier, or a CF competition, which is a qualifier. And the truth is, some Caribbean nation will never dream of going to a World Cup because of the size and all sorts of things.
Right.
So we need to have a CFU competition for youth teams. We have one for under 15. We need to have them at under 17. We need to have them at under 20. Then we need to have Concacaf Gold Cup at under 20 and under 17. There's only way we are going to be able to identify the gap and close the gap with those other teams and make them stronger while we grow stronger. So it's our own outlook at how we think that having a senior competition is all. No, it's not enough. We need to have those at the younger level.
But are they going to do it? Should we depend on them to do it for us? Because when you look at Mexico won the tournament, they played Norway, Poland, Netherlands, Brazil, England, Belgium, all those teams in the run up to the competition, right? We should not expect anybody to be able to put that in place for us.
Yeah, but we don't have the money to go to now to play those games. Those games are all lost. You're thinking about Mexico with 123 million people.
Right. It may not be Norway and those places, but it could be Argentina and Brazil and places close in. And I understand the dynamics with travel and how it affects.
So what we'd have to do, like Trinidad and Tobago, and then again, we're just looking at ourselves. Definitely at Trinidad and Tobago could host a 4-nation tournament in either Jamaica or Trinidad with an invite to other teams. But the rest of the Caribbean wouldn't be able to do it. So I'm saying
because of cost.
Sorry?
Because of cost?
Yeah, because of cost. They won't have that. I mean, look, you have some countries that their structure is very well developed in terms of supporting the football game. I'm sure if you go to an under 20 game in Mexico, when they're playing somebody else, the stadium probably full. People are out, so it wouldn't be a loss. when Trinidad came to Jamaica and played the game, I don't know if we make any money from it. I mean, it's just cost for Trinidad and cost for us. So I'm saying, but we probably decide to spend the money somewhat, and we probably could, especially with the talent identification program coming up. So I'm just saying that right now, I am seeing a window of opportunity that we can use. I'm seeing a window of opportunities that we can use because FIFA has come up with a talent identification program, and that is what we should use. So I'm seeing a case where there should be no reason now for somebody not to be able to prepare their under 17 team for the next World Cup qualifier. I mean, the money will probably not be enough for the under 17 or under 20, but I'm saying if you choose one, then you should be able to have better preparation because of this program that they're running for the next 3 years. So um, that is what I think. And then what we need to do is pool resources too. Some of the Caribbean countries,
Right.
so we can have these tournaments. So if we go to Trinidad and you invite to other team, I mean, we reach there, we play, we get 3 practice matches, come to Jamaica, that sort of thing. Grenada, St. Lucia. Those are the things that we have to start do with our countries. I mean, I've been to Sweden, and when we go over there, they give us mattresses and we sleep in the classroom. That's where it's not. But if you start to come and say you want 5-star hotel, then these games can't play. So we have to look into ourselves as to what we can afford and try to make sure so we get the right benefit out of it. I mean, when Trinidad came here, they stay at our camp. If you had said you want a 5-star hotel, we would have said no, don't bother come. So and when we come over there, I'm sure we're going to stay at your camp where you have, and nobody make you have to find 5-star hotel. Suppose teams willing to come and do that too, it's fine. But if so, the cost is always a factor in anything you do. But I think this next 2 year there should be no excuse why we can't prepare our teams properly.
So with and again, you probably wouldn't call it a national team in this moment, but so preseason, European preseason, for example, right? Clubs in Europe, Manchester United in England, Arsenal, Brentford, clubs in Spain. Do you think that they would be, because these clubs make trips all the time, would be open to come into the Caribbean with their youth teams to spend some part of the preseason, so that we can get some of these games against that quality opposition with the kids that is being profiled to be in the national team? Because Jamaica is a nice place. It's a Caribbean island. Trinidad is Caribbean island, nice beaches.
No, but it goes both ways. They don't want to come here and we can't compete against them.
Let
But we
me
gotta.
ask, hold on. Let me just take a couple of comments because I want to. There's a lot of. I see one comment here from Ohini saying that why is there no Gold Cup for U17 and U20s? Euros have these competitions. All right.
But
Then
it's the same thing I was saying.
That one
If
Mr.
we,
Speed just
yeah,
addressed.
right. I think that question came after. And then Jason Guna says Jamaica fails to capitalize on the revenue streams from their senior program to the detriment of the juniors. What do you say about that? And maybe it's a Caribbean, is the same thing in Trinidad. Is it that the senior program, if successful, can sustain and make viable the junior programs? And what has affected, Trinidad, Jamaica, and other Caribbean islands is that the senior programs have really struggled. Thus, the junior programs don't have all the necessary resources to make them have the best opportunities of qualifying consistently. Is it which way does it go? The revenues, the talent flows from junior up, but the revenue flows from senior up, or is it the other way around?
I know. I've read in some FIFA documents that a successful national team could fund the entire pyramid of football, right? And a lot of times we seem to be dealing with where do we put the money? Do we focus on development or do we put it in the national team? And I think it's a predicament that can have long-term benefits, but if those benefits don't come after 5 or 10 years, then that's 10 years of your national senior team. You know, the kind of money that's involved. Look at the World Cup coming up. If a team in the region like Jamaica or Trinidad decide, you know what, we're going to put our money in development and we're not going to worry about the senior World Cup, the senior team and the World Cup coming, that's almost $11 million off the top if you don't, that you're actually walking away from, potentially. Right? So it's a tricky one, but I think the senior team cannot be neglected if it has the potential to be successful.
What is your stance on that, Mr. Speid? We need to pump resources into the senior team, get them qualifying for tournament, and that will generate, so get the best talent available for your senior team, give them all the resources needed, because once they qualify for World Cup, win Gold Cup, then you will have greater revenue streams to capitalize on that can help your junior program. Is that the way, or just pump your resources into grassroots football and develop players? Hopefully that, if you do that, one day you will qualify. How do you, I heard Andre, what is your take on that?
Well, a country's football program or how people view the country as a football nation is two teams, is your senior national team and the level of the domestic senior competition that you have. Usually just ask anybody about football, and that's the first thing they would do. If you Google a country and I want to know about them in football, I Google where them Pepsi Code FIFA ranking is, and I Google where them senior senior local football competition is ranked or something like that. So it kind of give you an idea of the strength of the country. I don't see anyone who serious could ever scrap the senior program to say them going, or downgrade it to say you're going to spend on development. So you raise the expression that you have to work and chew them at the same time, you really have to do both of them at the same time. That's how I think it make a difference. Because if you do have somewhere to go to and just training some boys and say, me I train you to be good. No, they all want to aim for that senior national team. So there must be something there that they're trying to go for. I mean, there's going to be some players too that them just have a raw knack and a talent that them could get themselves promoted up to the senior team from a young age. And if you didn't have that, then you'll be stifling those. So I just think that you have to do both of them at the same time. Now, a lot of countries' structure is different from how Jamaica's structure is. So there's countries that every single person who play football in the country has to contribute to the national team. They have those structures, So some countries started 100
I don't
million.
understand. I don't understand. When you have to contribute to the national team, I don't understand that concept. You could just explain it a little bit so I can get a better understanding.
So in some countries, if you have a club that play in a competition, any competition, the players that play in the competition themselves have to pay, say, $5 or $10 to participate. So that money find its way right up to the national program. You never know of that?
If the player have to contribute $5 or $10, national players?
There's some figure, yeah. No national player. Every player. Whether you play corner league, any league.
I never heard about it in a national team, but the concept is that the people at the bottom fund the people at the top.
Yeah, every player will play in some corner league or amateur league.
Well. The thing is that it is when the players are getting money. Because you can't give.
No, they're not getting the money.
So
no. This is grassroots football. So right now, Jamaica, for example, since Mr. Speid shared the idea, could say to the entire football pyramid in Jamaica, we're going to tack $15 onto registration, right? And that $15 finds its way all the way to the national team.
For each person. Yeah.
Right? So each person that pay for registration, $15 of that come out and goes to the JFF to fund certain programs, whether it's youth program development or the senior team or whatever.
Okay.
So some countries have that in place now.
Okay, I see what you mean. All right, I see this one saying, I think it should be, let's put it simply. The World Cup is in the region. Has Jamaica begin negotiating with England, France, Spain, and Germany, Brazil, Argentina to host friendlies in 25 to 26 to aid acclimatization? Okay. All right. So, Andre, what do you think on that? Should Caribbean nations begin to talk to France? I don't. How do you do that though? Is there a guarantee that Spain is going to be in the next World Cup?
Yeah.
All right. So
But
I mean, it's a natural thing. I mean, once I don't know if the Argentines and cause they keep and the Brazilian will be so fussy
yeah, but
about
they're going
playing.
to play in the. Aren't they going to play in the Gold Cup?
The
Not the
Concacaf
World Cup.
tournament.
The
Yeah,
World
the
No,
Concacaf
what they say the
tournament.
World Cup tournament is in this region.
No, man. No, man. What I am saying is that one of the reasons why they are going to be playing, a lot of the South American nations are going to play in the not this Gold Cup, but the other edition of it, and the Concacaf team will be playing in the Copa America is part of that whole acclimatization. Because remember, they're planning on launching the tournament where it won't be just CONCACAF team. Isn't that what the
Yeah.
next Gold Cup is going to
Concacaf
be?
and CONMEBOL together.
Together. So that is a part of it. So, but it's something to be looked at. But Gunners Boss says other nations' national football program grew based on the domestic leagues. In Jamaica, um, we want to build the football from the national team. That's backward thinking.
As I said
Uh,
before, I don't think anybody wanted to build Jamaica from the national team. I think um, we just never spend enough time and resources and put in the right knowledge that other successful nation has done in our programs. I wouldn't say anybody wanted to do what
So
they
so
were saying.
why aren't we doing that?
Well, partly because we had a very good argument going that we don't have the resources. So, for instance, if you ever tell anybody in Jamaica that every person that you register you must pay 10 US for them, you will get no registration. Nobody will do it, right?
But do you
So that
do you have to tell them?
no, I'm saying that you
It's
just
registration cost. The agreement would be with the who is running the football.
right.
yeah, but
So
what I'm saying though, here's the problem we're going to have. So I have a team of 30 players, as an example, in, say, Division 1. Let's use that. So I have to pay $10, 10 US. That is $300. All right, $300 is close to 50,000 Jamaicans. There is also an affiliation fee, which is around 20,000 Jamaican dollars. That's 70,000. The league is not sponsored. So, so, so that to me is saying that why am I going to spend $70,000? Why am I going to pay $70,000 outside of buying boots, socks, shin guard? And when that league is finished, I'm not going to get a red cent back. I don't have any gate receipts. So you know what? Keeping a football.
exactly. So I agree with that's what going to be the reaction of most people. But in other nations, that we're trying to compete against, this is
So
a
that
fact.
is that decision that management just sorry, Mr. Speed, but that decision that he just hypothetically made based on
I'm
the
giving you real
resources.
facts, man.
Right, I understand that, but I'm,
It's
I'm
not
saying it's a
scripted.
hypothetical because that's not being we just discussing it.
In
That is
fact, no, but
solely
I am telling you that
that would right.
many parish associations end up getting sponsors to pay the affiliation fees because the clubs don't even want to pay that.
Right.
For,
So in that scenario that you just mentioned, how many players, how many young people do you have in front of you? How many young people would you be registering?
probably out of that, I mean, some of it at that lower level, a lot of the guys who play are younger, are
Yeah,
young
but
players.
how many? Let's say you have 20.
Out of a 20, yeah, 20,
Yeah, let's
yeah,
say you have 20. Let's say you have a team of 20 kids, right?
yeah.
Now, if you take that same scenario, the same set of facts, and you look at it from the perspective, what is the benefit to these 20 kids, the short-term and long-term benefits of these 20 kids to be able to compete in sports, have an environment that they can go to, so that the time occupied in the evening and they're not distracted by something else, and what you bring to the table that you can help produce productive members of society for the future. If you look at it from that perspective, does it make it any easier for you to pay that money?
All right. So
I think that
I
was yes
can
or
give
no.
no. I'm going. I mean, right now, in the football,
Mhm,
even at our Premier League level,
mhm.
the clubs will tell you, the clubs who win the competition will tell you many times that they, with the best financial management, they still suffer significant financial loss. That's at the highest level. Hold on. So when you come down where this is unsponsored, so whatever money is put into it, it is personal funds. How do I know? What can you tell me to make me want to pay $10 to register Jason King
The
at
the
12, knowing that I pay that and at 13 he can go anywhere in Jamaica I want? My $10 is gone.
Right. So listen to this. There's what you just shared, and there's a financial document that comes on of this all the time. And I remember looking at the numbers one time when PSG spent the ridiculous amount of money for Neymar. And if PSG had won the French league and the Champions League that year, there's no way they would have made the money back that they invested in Neymar. Just from that. Right? The money would be made back from other things. So money is not made in football. Money is made in football from the buying and selling of players, right? And sponsors and that kind of stuff. So I think when we, especially if we're talking about young people, I think if we look at the human resource and the effect, the potential effect we can have, positive effect we can have on young people, I think it makes it easier to spend that 10 years
Yeah, but what
or
I'm
to
saying,
go and look
Andre,
for a
I don't know what
sponsor.
Mr. Speed, Mr. Speed probably have a completely different response. I'm just giving a person who runs the football at this level.
And
They
right,
probably,
so
what
we got
I'm
to
saying is
change
that.
that thinking.
So,
So
so
we got to try to.
I've been running football, helping youths, similar to what you're saying, for around 10 years now, or probably even more. And the biggest amount of money I have had, right? And this place presently in the part of the national setup is 40,000 Jamaican dollars. That's in one semester of school in the early years. That's what it cost me for that player. So the point I'm making is that the probability of most of the smaller clubs having players move it is so low that the initial investment is not worth it unless the whole module of football is changed where one there's greater movement of player and there's greater resources financially to help pumped into the football because that
So
is the greatest hindrance. But go ahead,
so,
Mr. Speed. But that's
so
a Fred.
I was making the
Hold on.
point.
Hold on, Mr. Speed. Let me just read this from Fred. He says here in Florida, every player pays 150 US for registration in order to play youth football. They have what I call disposable income. In
Management,
Jamaica,
you
in Jamaica, 150. Listen. If you tell, if Freddie call and tell some of my family members, maybe I'm rich, so that's different. If I tell some of my family members that I pay $150 to register my son to play football, them probably not talk to me again.
yeah,
Did
but it
you just
wouldn't be
make a
150
classist
US
comment?
in
Eh?
Jamaica.
Did you just make a classist comment with Freddie?
But go ahead, Mr. Speed. You're going to respond.
So I was saying I didn't make it comment to say we must pay the money in Jamaica. I'm just trying to make people aware of why you have some countries will have more money to spend on their grassroots programs than others because they operate on different systems. I know when you go to like some countries in Europe, the government actually gives you money for your club when you put in your registration. So the more players you have in your club playing, the government actually send you a check every month, you know. I don't know if it's every month or every quarter or whatever, but the government actually send you a check. So clubs are encouraged to have a lot of players on their roster, training every day as much as possible because the government send you a check. I'm just trying to make the point that the environment that we live in Jamaica, the government will not send the clubs a check for any reason. One, or in Trinidad, as far as I know. And two, the players will never pay a registration fee to play any football. So those are some of the reasons why we don't have the amount of money that we'd like to spend on the younger players to bring them up to a particular standard. I'm just putting that out there.
So right now there's no registration fee from the player to
No,
play in Jamaica.
no.
So
Yeah, there is a registration fee and an affiliation fee. So when you
Yeah,
fill
but
out
it
your
goes to the
registration,
parish association. It don't go up to the
that's
JP.
what I'm saying. So the parish association gets, like, some parishes take like $3,000 for Jamaican, which is like what, $15 US to register a team, and like $100. So it costs you around, let's say, an average $200 at the lower levels to register your team. I am saying to you, a lot of times it is the parish associations that find sponsorship so that the clubs can even pay, because some of them don't want to pay. They don't want to pay. They don't. They, anyways, some of the people, they love freeness as well. So let me just put that out there. Some people, even
No
if they have the
some,
money
no
to,
some. In a Jamaica, it would be almost impossible for you to get that registration fee if it filter out.
I cannot believe what you're saying. I just can't believe what you're saying. It is hard to imagine if we sit down and look at the benefits that a young person would receive, right, from playing competitive sport from an early age, being involved in an organization, and not it, throughout the course of the, let's say, until they turn 18. We are saying that families don't know that benefit or don't see that benefit worth anything, that they would find a portion of or the whole thing, or
let,
The
let, let, me- let,
problem
me-
is, a lot of some people can afford to pay it, right? Some
right,
people can,
the
but
majority won't.
the majority cannot or won't.
won't and cannot is two different things. Which is it?
It's a mixture of both.
See, all right,
So
please,
what happened now? See what
Mr.
happened to Jamaican?
Please, you need to give me. I need to answer some of these things. All right, and I have to answer some of these things. All right, so let me just read this. Let me just. Kendall, I like your comment. Scales to suit the environment. The big picture thinking is where the answer lies. I believe this is part of the solution. All right, this should be the solution. So let's come down to reality. Because I see, like Oid is saying, it is not true. Parents pay $1,000 per session for their child.
Them pay
All right?
more than that too, but
Hold
it's
on.
wish
There are
child.
people in Jamaica who pay more than that. So let me tell people, the majority of kids who play football in Jamaica have never owned a pair of football shoes. The majority at the under 12 level never own a brand new pair of shoes for themselves. I can tell you this. I go to schools and kids train because their last semester khaki pants, they cut and play in it. In their, what we call in Jamaican, gentleman shoes and their football socks. That's what they're playing in. So I don't want people to come here and talk like parents in Jamaica, in some of our most depraved communities, can pay $150 because it is done overseas. We have to be real and honest. We're acting like the people have so much money. If we start charging some parents, they're going to stop their kids from playing it because they can't afford it. Do you know that their
Management,
kids...
they pull one of
Listen,
your
I have to
strings.
say this. I have to say this so people can understand that there are kids who live on the PATH program in Jamaica because the parents can't even give them lunch money to go to school.
So I
Why are we
remember,
acting like that is not a part of the issue as well? Come on, man. We have to be real.
so
But that's a global thing though. I deal with kids that their family don't have the money to pay, and we find a way to make sure that they play, right? So as you all said, there's some that can pay, some that won't pay, and we just got to find a balance because football has to be funded in order to find the best players, because some of those players that you're talking about that can't pay, we can't exclude them.
Listen,
It's a problem here in the US.
I interviewed a player who plays for our national team. Who he is overseas playing now. He was getting 9,500 Jamaican dollars a week. You know how much money that is in US? That's like 50 US dollars a week, who plays for our national team. And he was the top player in the JPL at the time, traveling with the national team. And he said, there are times when I could not get the money or they didn't have it to give me. This is in our senior league. And then someone is going to come and tell me that the kid who live in the next community can afford to pay to play? Come on, man. We have to be real. We need to talk about the change, but we have to be real.
right. So I
Can we please?
remember,
These
just
are
to
real
make a
issues we're
point,
dealing with.
just to help your point. I remember I kept a competition, like a academy competition at Cavalier. So we charge the people like 10,000 or 5,000. I can't remember. It was about 5 years ago. And so we had some food that we were just selling. And you know that we end up giving away all the food because the players come and they're hungry and you can see the white squall on them. Just give away the food. And so we end up spending back all of the money and more that we charge to come in and just give the player food at the time because they just never have it. And it is true. If the better players, some of the better players, we would be leaving those talent behind if we decide to overcharge. But I didn't say all of this to say we now find a way. I just said all of this to make
Exactly.
people
It's
understand the
the
differences
reality.
between us and
Yeah.
other nations and
All right.
why we can't ignore
So
going
let me
after
say,
that
let me say,
$9 million
That's
prize.
a global thing. That's not
all right.
only
So let me say
that's
this.
hold on, management. That's
So
not
listen.
only
But Andre, Mr. Simmons, but that is why we're having it. To find a solution, first thing you have to do is to admit what we are doing. We are saying that you are saying that I am making excuses. I am laying out to you what the issues are. So let us discuss the solution. Don't come and present. I don't want nobody to come and present to me that there are no issues. And if I state what the issues are, it is an excuse. There are real issues in Jamaica. We have kids who go to school that don't have books. Those are real issues. They don't have food. So how do we solve it if we want to get more football? Maybe some of us need to go and adapt some school programs, adapt some football programs in our prep and basic schools. There are solutions, but let us be real. Let us be real and honest that we have kids in Jamaica and families in Jamaica. We have families in Jamaica that they don't have electricity. They still use lamps at night with kerosene oil, and their kids play football. They go to standpipe and catch water.
And toilets that don't flush.
There you go. We have those issues. So how do we fix them? It is global. It is all across the world. Yes, So let us come to the solutions. What some of us need to do is we need to stop making excuses. We need to stop blaming administrators. We need to find some communities. We need to find these depraved kids. We need to find them. We need to take some of our resources. Go to some of these schools. Say to the principals in a primary school, we will adapt this program. We will bring the stuff from here and there. Listen, we will come and spend the money because we don't trust you to give you. We are going to come in and take over the program. That's what we need to do.
Management,
To
Arsenal
compare
Football
us with the
Club.
United States is unfair.
No, but those conditions exist here too. But let me say to you, Gabriel Jesus was living in the favelas in Brazil and ended up at Manchester City a year after the World Cup, the Brazil World Cup. So I think while those conditions are real, and that's a bigger discussion because we have people that run the country, right? And we've got to start to think about, well, should a place in the Caribbean that has asphalt that grew out of the ground, should we have bad roads, right? Should that be the case? And that happens. So whose fault is that? Why does that exist? Why do we have roads that's falling apart and potholes and that kind of stuff when asphalt grows out of the ground?
But let me say it this way: the kids from Jamaica who have also made it far, like the Neymar, they're not coming from wealth. They had some of these issues.
Right.
What we are saying is that there are more out there who
And
can take
somebody
that same path.
subsidized them. Somebody
Yes.
subsidized them when they were
Right.
coming.
Right. So and that's where the solution is. The
Yes,
solution
so the
is
solution, but what I'm saying though, the solution is that many of us who talk need to stop talking. Find a community. Instead of giving to your high school that has already many multi-billionaire giving to them, go and find in a deep rural community where the school has to still catch water in drums. That happens in Jamaica. They want to play football. Bring some soccer cleats to them. Bring some football to them. Get somebody to cut out the cow pasture and remove the cow from their playing field. Where when they are playing, cow coming and attacking them. I'm going to video them and show you. Come and help them. Instead of saying, oh, the government should be, this should be. Put your money where your mouth there as part of the solution. That is my thing because I'm giving you the reality as to what need to change. And all of us, instead of talking, some of us need to put our monies there. Find some of those places and go and help the people. They are in Tobago as well. They are in your communities. Maybe your great grandmother come from some of these places. Your uncle, your cousin live there. That's all I am saying. The solution is with you who have all the solution. You have all the solutions, so implement them. You're in the States. You're in the States. Kids throw away cleats. Pick them up and carry them to Jamaica. And give them away.
I just said that, man. I must share this experience with, you, with everybody.
Go to Ross
Well,
and
man, me have to share this
$5
experience. Man, let me share this experience. I remember I went to a football tournament. And the people them just, we're playing a black and white. The people them just throw them jersey after the game done, Man, I pick up about 50 set of gears. And them all throw the bag too. I pick up the bag, put the 50 set of gears, and the gears and dirty, and I come on the next man. I couldn't even get to wash them. And me pick up like about 12 pair of boots, about 15 ball, and just stuff all of them in a 2 bag, and put them on the plane and I come to the airport. So when we reach at the airport, and the man, what you call them, the custom man.
Yeah.
So what you have in your bag? And I say, I'm show him. So when the man smell them, the man just say, go and show me a charge. Was a joke. I had to share that story.
Let me ask a question, management.
So what I will say,
management, let me ask you a question before you go.
What I will say, sorry, I mean, I need to say this because what I will say is that the government and the JFF need to make sure that when people are bringing back stuff to do stuff like this, here is what they need to do. If I am bringing a case of used cleats and jerseys to give to kids, once I have something from the principal of that school, I should be allowed to bring those in, and everyone must be given to the school. That is where I think government. No, this does not mean that the JFF must not put money in. We must hold them accountable. However, I think a lot of us can do more because we have a whole lot. Anyways, go ahead, Andre. You said that
Let,
he has
let,
Yeah,
let me
Jed,
ask
we
you a
get
question.
permission, man.
Let me
Thank
ask you
you.
a question because I know
yes.
I remember I saw about a year ago Shaka Hislop had created an opportunity to take used cleats back to kids in Trinidad, and you know we all I know a lot of people that's done that. I've done some of that. We've provided stuff. But what do you think? And to both you and Mr. Speed, we know the immediate need. A kid need a pair of shoes to play in, and he'd use a he'd welcome a used pair of cleats from America, or wherever the case may be. What do you think the long-term psychological effect is on those kids if they keep receiving used stuff from people overseas, versus being taught how to get their own shoes? What do you think the psychological effect is?
Listen, that's a very good. All right. So listen.
Because how go ahead,
Here,
sorry, go ahead.
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Mm,
I understand. So I can only speak from a Jamaican perspective.
mm.
All right. All right. So I need to respond to a couple of things. Let me take from a Jamaican perspective. Because I have seen with my eyes kids still playing in our primary league competition barefooted, and they have on only socks and shin guards in Jamaica, right? I'm telling you that. And when they get they cry. I think sometimes we have to see them. So I don't think psychologically it affects them, because here's what: when these kids get into our high school programs, a lot of them the school end up purchasing, because what we are talking about, is not in high school, because most of the high schools, they get sponsorship to buy these things. What I am talking about, don't worry, don't worry, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. I am going to show you, man, because it happened to me.
What?
I went there and it happened to me, so I'm going to show you. So here's what I'm saying: that so when it gets to the high school level, to be fair to Jamaica,
Mm.
a lot of the former students of the school support those programs. What I'm talking about is our under 12s, because this idea of not having, because most of these kids who play like under 14 and under 16, they are properly, for the most part, equipped with gears. Once they get to the clubs, they are taken care of. All right, so that I understand. But when you get to like to the primary and the basic school level, it's a different thing. Now, where I agree with like what Gregory Simmons is saying, there are parents who can pay. And here's what has been happening in Jamaica. There has been an emergence of a lot more academies. There are a lot more people in Jamaica. Craig Butler is not free. Craig Butler Academy is not free. Andrew Edwards Academy is not free. Lee Croft, Letman. I mean, all of these guys who run Kingston Soccer Academy, they are not free. They are charging monies, and the people who can pay, they are paying. Cataract just spoke about Tony James. They have an academy down there with Vin Blaine and all of those guys. People are paying. So people who can pay are paying. I am talking about the masses of people who cannot afford to. And so I'm saying,
Correction, Man's manner. Even if they can afford to, they don't believe that that is important enough for them to pay for it.
well, I'd say that is changing, because I can
No,
tell
no,
you.
no. You have some parents spend money on other things that they don't think that.
Yeah, you have that. But what I'm saying though is that, unlike in my time, listen, like in St. Anne, the amount of coaches doing individual, the amount of kids paying to do soccer now is a huge number, because the people who can pay for the most part, they are paying. I'm talking about the ones who have a heart and a passion for the game, that a lot of us are in positions to help.
So I want you to take on the question that I asked you just now, because I think we have to be careful that we don't create a psychological problem long term that hurts us in international football. Because if I grew up as a kid in 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, knowing that I'm getting used shoes from Americans, how do I compete against them?
Huh?
How do I compete against them? How do I,
Against who?
the same people
Go.
that's been giving me the used shoes, how do I compete against them? Is it possible that psychologically I could be affected by that in a
But
negative way?
what I'm saying though is that this
No,
happens.
no, hold on. That's because I think we have to find a balance, right? I think providing stuff for people is good, but allowing people to know how to acquire their stuff is better, right?
Yeah.
So a combination of both. And I think
All right.
and there can be an effect psychologically that's negative if I spend my entire youth receiving stuff.
No, so hold on.
Man
So
feels.
so it's not a case where in Jamaica, I must tell you that people are not. You have some people who can afford their gears, right? So they can buy anything that they want. You have a next set of people who cannot, but then love the sport. And some people see the sport as a way out. So remember, after you reach a certain category of play and standard, eh, clubs start to look after you because they are going to invest in you because there's a talent there. So we're not talking about Cavalier playing the senior team start to use gears and shoes that people playing. That won't happen. We're talking about at the lower level where a player doesn't even have a football shoes and you give him one. Him don't care if it's old or new or if it's somewhere in a medium range. He just want a boots to be able to perform on the field. So I don't think there's any psychological damage remaining there for these players. In Jamaica, I mean, players still play in the same gears. If you're not playing today, so you see somebody in your number playing, that still happen here on a regular basis. So I don't think Jamaicans has grown to accept that they will in some cases have to do those things for the team or for themselves. Of course, as soon as you identify those players to be an elite player, that has to change.
Right.
Because you can't expect an elite, whether it's a youth or a senior player, to not have his own thing, have the best gear, start to pick and choose the type of equipment that he wants to wear in terms of boots or other comforts. So you find that happen at the elite level. So I think there's a distinction.
There's a need for everything. Somebody is characterizing me as Dr. Phil, but that's okay. I'm just raising a question.
No, right. No, it's a good question. Look here, everywhere in the world, some of these people who can afford to pay, I hope they don't take the chat, is that they are not the person that you think a coach would pick to be an elite player. Some of these
Right.
people that
Right.
And I mean, even the USA, they are finding that they are leaving talents behind. Some elite players have been left behind because the academy system kind of stick to pay to play.
Right.
There's issues there too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that is why I am not so upset with people not paying to play, because there's a lot of talent that you would have missed if you went that route. Some of our best talent that we have, I know what they used to do when they're younger. Some of our best talent that Jamaica has produced. And if they had to pay, there was no way that they'll be where they are now. They would probably quit a long time.
Well, if they're asked to pay, the world is evolving, right? And things are different now, and things cost more. And but if people are paying and they come and they're training on the best pitches in Jamaica, and they have an environment that suggests that, okay, we can see where our money is going, right? Then I think that changes the dynamic. And as well as if you have people that are paying, and you pay attention to those that cannot pay, and try to create a system where you can support those that cannot pay, so you don't leave. I mean, we're not going to catch everybody, but you're going to catch yours. I coach at a club, and I've had our fair share of kids who cannot play. Some of them just came into the country. I think they refer to them as refugees. But if a kid wants to play, you find a way to make it happen, right? And it's way more costly here, right? I don't know what the academy teams in Jamaica play to use the fields, but it's expensive here. It's expensive to use the fields, especially with lights. You pay for everything. It costs a lot of money, and so
and it depends on your business model that each club or academy develop. For instance, we don't charge at Cavalier, right? We don't charge. So on a Saturday morning, we will let everybody who want to come, and we train, right? The other times in the week, we pick who must come. So we kind of pick out the elite ones eventually, right?
Mm-hmm.
But our business model is not to buy players. So we don't buy players. Like, for instance, if there's a we will never transfer a player into Cavalier for $1 million or $2 million to play on the senior team. Won't happen. Not even 100,000. It just won't happen because of our business model. So we said, well, why don't we pick players from the pool of players who come to train? So all the talented players know that it is free, they come. Okay. And then that's where we get our senior team players from. Mm-hmm. So you see, so it depends on the model that you want to present. There's a lot of ways to do it. So what we do, the money that we save in buying players, that is what we use to finance our younger players.
How much does it cost you to use per hour to use the field for practice?
No. Me and Alpha boys have an arrangement. I don't remember, but it's probably somewhere in the region of maybe 5,000 for 2 hours or 3 hours. I don't remember. So
5,000 is how much?
5,000 Jamaican is like 250 US.
For 3 hours?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So that's why it's cheaper for us anyway than own a field. But I'm saying it depends on the model you use. So another club or academy might decide to charge, but they will have everybody play, right? Because if you charge everybody, then you have to give all of them opportunities. I don't have that need to give everybody opportunities because I don't charge. You understand where I'm going?
Right.
So so we expect that we make back the money at the back end and not at the front end. So there can be different reasons. But what happened? I just believe that for us to become a football nation means that there has to be support for that development stage.
And the support has to come from many different factions in society, because
correct.
You could as a club, you could potentially get a sponsor to sponsor a youth program, right? So those kids, while they're not paying, somebody is paying, so that you can cover the cost of the field, and you could provide them training kit, and you could do all the things so that it look like it should look like, and the experience is what it should be.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Right. So, but there is a case for both persons exists.
We had to work on your math, Mr. Speid.
Well, 250 Wednesday, and 250 times 155. Oh, sorry. No understanding. Something wrong with my computer. 250 times 1. Whatever. Yeah, maybe a 300. Maybe a 300.
Say, like, if these numbers are correct, I mean, try, and that's for 2.5 hours. Try $125 an hour. You know what I mean?
But it's something like that. So I mean, but the truth is, we kind of incorporate that cost in our budget from upfront. So whether it's one person come or no person come, we incorporate that cost as a
Right.
part of us operation. So in other ways, it's more of a fixed cost to us than a variable cost.
What does it feel like?
Good feel, one of the best training pitch we have
Right.
in Jamaica.
Right. So you get one of the best training pitches at that course. I think
but we use it for all our training. We use it for senior team, junior team, women team. We use it for all our training. So we get a nice rate because we use it so frequently. But yeah, but that's what. But we factor it in as a fixed cost, not as a current, as you know, because we as I say, we have under 13, under 15, under 17 team, and we figure that we need to keep these programs alive to feed our senior team. So
which is the same idea when it comes to the game at the highest level, right? At the national team level.
Well, other clubs, actually spend money. I'm sure the clubs overseas, the Man Cities and the Man U, those youth teams don't make a profit. I'm sure they make a loss.
No. They're expecting to sell a player and make money. Whereas when Man City reported a gain in the financials last season or whenever it was because of players that they sold. Right? Okay. I don't think those clubs make money from the everyday running of football. Football is a very expensive thing, and my thing is, I think if we talk about it from a different angle, look at what we have and what we could do. I hear a lot about what we cannot do, and I just think that if we change our way of discussing it and looking for solutions, we might find that we might be able to do a lot more.
Right. So I am agreeing with you, and I agree with a lot of people writing here. We have to find solution. I'm not against finding solution, but clearly I'm saying that the preparation time, the preparation should even start 2 years before. Preparation should really start at the under 6, under 8 age group, come all the way up. I think that is what the other countries have over us. So people believe that preparation is the national team must call them and train. That's not preparation, really. Nope. That's the finishing part of preparation. Preparation should be that we set up structures in place so that these learning start to take place from an early age. And I went over in our program in management what the players need to learn, the tenets of the game, winning duels from an early age. So then you can pick out the best and then you set them in a structure for your game model that you want to play, because they would have had the requisite skills to play in any game model that you come up with. So, right. And I went through it with management in a prior program. There's also some skills that players learn without anybody teaching them. It's the most amazing thing. You try to teach somebody to score penalties and you're there with them kicking for a year and then can't score any. And that guy just walk off the road and then just score every single one. Somebody never even was looking at to take them. Just score every single one. Left foot. So the basic. So for players to learn these skills, some people have the
10,000 hours.
Our rule.
Yeah.
You get it over 10 years. Some players probably need 5,000 hours, some need 7,000 hours, some need 10, some need 15. So once we get them started at a earlier rate, then I think we'll be better prepared to play at the World Cup qualifiers. And not discounting the elite football and the Gold Cup for under 17 and that. I think we should have all of those if we're really going to come forward as a footballing, not just the nation, but a footballing region. Because I think that is what is more important. And we're trying to say Jamaica must do this or Trinidad must do this. If we don't do things that improve the whole region,
right,
it not gonna work for us. There's certain things that will make Trinidad and Jamaica still be ahead of the rest of the region, the smaller countries, like the population size. All of those things help in some way. The size of the play, all of those things help in some way. It's a complete thing. But I think our preparation is what is lacking. And again, we need the government to help us, and we need private sector to help us to get that preparation, because the JFF will never ever have the money. We need people in the public too that listen to these programs to help in whatever way they can help. Because if you find one Lionel Messi in a Westmoreland or in a Portland, it will be worth any investment that anybody could put up.
Right.
That's what I think.
The whole place might shut down.
Yes. And there's one somewhere. We just never find him.
There's always one. I think you know, as somebody who work in football, the commitment that is required by the individuals, the adults in football to take a player from one stage to the next. Sometimes you may want to question whether that commitment is there, but you can't do football part-time when it comes to developing players. My opinion is that it's a full-time thing. It's a full-time job. It's something that you do 24/7 because you're dealing with a young person who is growing, who's evolving, might regress at certain moments, and you gotta have patience. You gotta have belief. You know. So if across the board, like the commitment, if you look at the 20 teams in any of the leagues around the world, in the Premier League or in Spain or whatever, they have an investment, and they have guys coming in every day to try to make these players better so that revenue could be derived from it. And it sounds like we're not there yet. It sounds like we don't see football as a business. I can't hear you. It sounds like you're on mute. It sounds like you're on mute, Mr. Speid. Cannot hear you. You're muted.
Sorry. I have to finish that call. Sorry. All right. So, sorry, go ahead and ask me the question again. I didn't hear.
I was saying that we've got to find a solution to the football in the region in terms of how we get the best talent involved, the best potential, the best, and it requires resources, and the people that play, the people that coach at the clubs at different levels of football around the world, whether it's the Premiership or La Liga, in the Championship, wherever, they're coming in every day with the intention of making the young people they're responsible for better. Because at the end of the day, if they sell a player, it makes money. And it seems as though we're not at the stage where we see football as a business in the region.
Look, you know, you see why some countries just do so much better is because there's a holistic view about the kids. So for instance, Jamaica has never tried to invest in a lot of parks, or do they build, well, let me say that they build parks and places for people to play, but then they are neglected. So the kids really don't have anywhere that they think they can go and play safe, in a safe environment. Also, we spend a lot of money on our medical system, right? Medical, a lot of people get sick, diabetes, a lot of stuff that is a direct, it directly come from the whole idea that Jamaican don't exercise as much. Some of those illness they could be avoided with exercise, or not so severe exercise, dieting, etc. So what some first world countries do is actually encourage sports participation by actually subsidizing building facilities, indoor, outdoor, actually paying a subsidy to the clubs that have an organized structure that they use, because they are looking to say that their medical bill, which is huge in most countries, will reduce. So instead to take the pressure off, so they do the maths and work out, say, okay, it's gonna cost me medically 5 billion every year for the next 40 years if we don't get a healthier society. And they decide to probably share up 2 billion with the people who provide that health. So is just how we as a country approach sports and approach life and everything, why where we are. And until that change, it is just left to the people who are in football to find a way to provide that development structure to enable what we want to do. So it's something that we looking at the JFF, using what we have. And one of the things that we have to use, as management was saying before, is to use regulations to guide development. What that does, though, in some of the instances, is that you do have the widespread participation because the regulation is just too much. It's too much for some clubs to survive. So in Jamaica, we are encouraging academies, because academies find a way to train 12 hours a year. Sorry, 12 months of the year, and they train every week. So we are finding that academies start to do this. So we are encouraging academies to come online and have their own competition. We are encouraging more football to be played at the grassroots level. We're encouraging clubs to be structured. So once you identify the talent, we have an elite. We are defining a elite structure for senior and juniors. So these clubs will go and look for these elite players in the parish or wherever the talent is, and develop them further. So that is what we are doing now to try and ensure that we don't leave some of the talent behind that we're leaving now. So and we hope that it will work, because we know we'll not get the support from other places that we should probably get it from. So we have to try and so what is happening is that we have a smaller group of people to choose from, which is really a problem. To try and have the best.
Well, you started by saying as a country, so football wouldn't realize its full potential or anything in a country if everybody is not on board, pulling in the same direction, trying to have the same intent. So every time you talk with people in the region, it seems as though there's skepticism among the people, whether it's the business community or whoever, in terms of their role or whether they should be involved. And I think that's hurting the progress in the game. The gap between us and the top teams in the region, and when I say us, I'm talking about Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica, it's wide. It's very, very wide. When you look at the results, it's and we need to do something about it. We can't continue to go to these tournaments. We don't. If you look at the last tournament, the top teams had the best recovery time, right? The best team, they get the best schedule for games.
Right. That is because we don't have anybody on the committees, which I don't understand why we don't have anybody on the committees that make up the schedules.
Right. So all of that is part of it. All of that is part of it. We can't compete effectively if if we're starting off on a playing field that's not level. And we know
Right.
it's not level because of our preparation to begin with. But then we go into competition and we find we have a few hours less recovery time than the teams that are better prepared than us. Huh?
Right. And but that again start because we are as a Caribbean with 31 or 41 member states is not demanding a pre-tournament before the World Cup qualifiers either.
So we
We're
need
not
leaders.
demanding anything.
We need
Right.
leaders. We need
Yeah.
leaders that would be strong and that would go in and know how to work with people, but also who would represent the region properly, right? Especially the teams that have a chance to be competitive. They represent everybody, but we seem to always be at a disadvantage. And all of these little things add up and they reduce our chances of being successful. So it's some of it is self-inflicted, and some of it is, seems to be because we are not respected. But we're not gonna get management back. I don't know if you know that.
I don't.
Yeah, we're not gonna get him back. So look, I want to talk to you about something offline, maybe later this week.
Sure.
And see if we can get have a discussion somewhere along the lines of this. But I've got to go. I have a class in about 15 minutes. So I don't know if you.
No, it's okay. You can end the show.
Yeah.
Just when you're ready.
Well, management is going to end the show. He's the best at that. He's the best at that. I will give deference to him there. But I appreciate the discussion, and I think at the end of the day, we all want football to be better in the region. I want to see us performing, whether it's Jamaica or Trinidad, performing at the World Cup, being competitive. I think that's what everybody wants. But there's so many things that seem to be that it could be better, from development all the way up to the senior team. I don't know, but it seems as though Jamaica is heading in the right direction. I'm hoping to have a discussion next week with someone that could really give us a sense of where Trinidad is, because sometimes it's you would think you know, but you don't know. You better hear from the people better off to hear from the people that's in it every day. And you guys do a good job of giving a kung for where the JFF is. We still have some work to do in that regard in Trinidad. So there's not much conversations taking place about what's happening. So I'm trying to see if I could get some of that encouraged.
All right, no problem. So somebody saying, Mr. Blake, I soon call you because I saw you calling, but I was busy. Then see the man is saying, "Oh, does 80 higher than us?" I think that's what you mean. I don't know. I'll have to ask Concacaf. But so far, I think this morning we went over a lot of topics.
Yeah.
I mean, just to summarize, our situation is not the same like other countries who have better facilities and everything and better structure how the game is. We need to find some other way to get the same job done and able to find another way. We're looking at it we're looking at coaching education, club licensing, we're looking at identifying the elite players from an early age. And we're looking at encouraging academies right throughout Jamaica to keep the football playing. We need to find other ways for teams to keep playing unsupervised football, players to keep playing unsupervised football. And then we need our preparation period to be much longer. So, yes, we're going to be looking at those. We're going to be talking to Trinidad and Tobago to improve together and also to help other Caribbean countries to improve, because if you have weak countries, it's not going to work out. You have strong countries all around. So,
Yep.
we can be a better confederation than just ourselves.
And we need to get people on the committees representing us. You might know better than I do how that is done, but when our teams go into competition, those couple of the reason why the bigger countries fight for those couple of hours recovery time is because it's an advantage, right?
Of course, very important.
Yeah.
So there's no one way for us to get better. There's a myriad of ways that we need to get that, and I hope it will work out Right. I think Nia is so correct about one thing too. With a country, television rights is probably the only way we are ever going to be able to provide development that is needed. And because Jamaica only have 3,000 persons, 3 million persons, it's kind of difficult to get this market, for get that type of money for both Jamaica and Trinidad, and the smaller countries, it is even worse. So we have to look at how that plays out too, and see, but that again is another problem for us.
We need to create a product that people want to see. So the football
Yeah.
has to be attractive.
Yeah,
And that's at the end of the day, that should be the goal.
yeah.
Well, good conversation. I enjoyed the conversation.
Me too.
Management,
He just came back in, but I don't know where he's gone.
yeah, I think he's having some power issues. So,
Well, you just close the show.
all right, no, he's gonna do it. I told him to
Okay.
do it. All right. Okay,
All
Mr.
right.
Speed. Talk to you
Take
later.
care.
I'll get in touch with you later this week. Okay.
No problem, Andre.
All right. Take care. Bye
Thanks.
bye.
All right, so I think we're just waiting on management to come back and close the show. Yeah, as Neil, I agree with you. We have to improve the product. I think we have done a little, but there's a long way to go. But again, what is stifling the product from improving further is really money. And until we reach that stage, we're gonna have to sometime cut back your costs because you just can't afford it. But I still think football is on the up. We need to just sit down and make sure that whatever funding that we have, we're able to use it in a proper and right manner. And I think one of these days we need to see what type of funding is out there to help us, whether worldwide or funding from in Jamaica,